Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator, everyone. Well, apparently this is a follow-up video of the last video that I did flying from Payne Field, KPAE, to Auburn. And apparently I flew this flight just a minute ago, and there's some things that are still there from the last update, and there's some things that are fixed. One serious concern I had is, and that I have now, is my, I'm gonna go ahead and hit fly. My Xbox controller is not working anymore. And what happened with my last flight, I thought I was recording it, but I didn't have sound. I didn't have the sound set up correctly, and that was my fault. It was with the GeForce Experience. It always defaults to my Oculus Rift, the microphone of my Oculus Rift, and I have to change it every time. But anyway, that's another issue altogether. But what happened is, whenever I was flying the Xbox controller, when I went in to test the drone, I lost my Xbox controller, and you can still see those floating graphics there. And interestingly enough, my last flight, there were no floating graphics there. Those floating graphics are back. So let's take a look here outside. You can see floating graphics there for that building. It's missing the walls is what it is. The last flight, the floating graphics weren't there. So maybe that's just an ongoing issue. But now what I'm going to do here is, I have my Xbox controller, and I'm going to unplug it. Okay, my computer says there's no more Xbox controller. I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. And now let's go ahead and see my control options. See if I can see the Xbox controller. No Xbox controller. Keyboard, mouse, flight sim yoke, pedals. It's not detecting my Xbox controller at all. Let's go ahead and do it with this control options. Okay, so I have no Xbox controller, so no more drone. At least at this point, there's no Xbox controller. So I'm going to go ahead and take off. Hit B on my keyboard. That gives my... And I set back to lock mode. It doesn't have that question mark anymore. So the fonts are real big, but the lock mode does not have that question mark anymore. So they fixed that part. And so we'll go ahead now. In order to zero the heading bug, you used to be able to just go over it and then hit your left mouse button. Well, now you hit your, you hold your left mouse button, hit your right mouse button. Watch what happens to the heading. So hold it and then right mouse button, and that's how that should work. And so we'll go ahead and bring this to 2500. The other thing too is, whenever I took off, I got the brake release. When I took off and I hit autopilot, whenever you take off and you get a pitch and then you hit autopilot, it should hold that pitch. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll line up here. I like to kind of see the nose of the aircraft just a little bit. I forgot to turn on my wind again. Well, I'll do that when I'm in the air. Airspeed is alive. Past stall mode. About 65 rotate. We'll get about maybe 7 degree, 8 degree pitch. We'll hit autopilot. 10 degree autopilot. Flight director on. Okay, so the pitch mode does work. Okay, now the other concern was whether I flew this flight and I kept flying, and the controller never handed me off, so we'll go ahead and hit heading for our, we'll fly our heading, continue north departure. I'm going to go ahead and do flight level change now and then bring that up to about 110. We're already almost, well, we're within 1,000 miles, or 1,000 miles, 1,000 feet of our assigned altitude, 2,500 feet. So no Xbox controller. We'll try that again. I looked into my computer itself to see if it was recognizing it, and it is. But I have no use now. I'm turning right, turning left, using my buttons on my Xbox controller. I have no Xbox controller at all now. The last flight that I flew, I'm almost to altitude. The last flight that I flew, I had the Xbox controller in there. I went into drone mode, and I had like a flashing menu. It was just the whole system going crazy, and it was because of the Xbox controller. I can't use it anymore. I don't have it anymore, which I'm going to miss that for the drone mode. So far they haven't handed me off. Continue north. The other thing too that we have, let's look at the primary flight display, time, that's still there. And how far away am I going to fly from the airport until I get handed off? I'm at altitude now, 2,500 feet. All right.
Charlie, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Very good. So that's there. Shift 1.
Main Tower Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie frequency change.
And I'm going to go ahead and tune in Seattle approach. Request flight following.
Approach,
That's
Cessna
back.
November Charlie 77
So
Charlie
that's good.
Charlie is type Cessna Caravan.
The time though, I don't understand that.
500 feet. Request
Any real pilots out there? Is that what we have on our Garmin? Do you have time?
Climbing 10,000 feet.
Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie Seattle approach. Squawk 1456.
Alaska 1430 Seattle departure
Under
altimeter
code
30.04
1.
continuous plan.
I have to the 4, 5, 6.
Cessna 7 Charlie
So
Charlie
the-
radar contact 6 miles
the-
north
the
of Main 2,400
Menu
feet.
here is really in the
Altimeter
way.
30.04.
And I will
Roger
acknowledge.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie.
Okay. Close that. So no Xbox controller, guys. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to what was it? Can't remember now. Accessibility. I'm going to switch back to legacy mode, apply and save. Go back. So whenever I go to here and do the code, I don't have anything in my way. I can see. The eyeball is still there. I'm not exactly sure what the eyeball is for. But the biggest thing, guys, that I have a problem with this new update is I have no Xbox controller. Nothing. It doesn't recognize my Xbox controller at all now. So I have no drone mode anymore, at least not with my Xbox. I guess I can still use the drone
Alaska 1430
with my
contact
mouse.
Seattle Center on 128.5.
Not exactly sure how to do that with my mouse. Maybe with a keyboard. I have no idea. I have no use for my drone at all now. My drone's not working at all. So no more drone. Camera? Full speed? Doesn't matter now. I can't. I'm trying to control. I'm trying my arrows. Shift. Okay, shift. Shift arrows work. This is my keyboard here. My mouse, I have no use. I can't control the drone at all with my mouse. Okay, now I'm in a spin here. Alrighty, so I didn't want to do that. Now I have. Some other problems going on here. Uh-oh. Alrighty, what's going on? Is it my Xbox controller? I'm going to plug it. Nope. I have my autopilot on. So far my autopilot is held in there. It hasn't automatically shut off. But go back into drone mode. Alrighty, I got some problems here, guys. Some serious problems. I'm trying control, shift, arrow, trying to get things straightened out here. Okay, my nav mode should be turning around again. So introducing some new bugs with the old bugs. That's got to be a challenge, I suppose, for those programmers. It's a wonderful program, but I wouldn't even know how, I'm not a programmer. I wouldn't even know where to begin to program anything like this. But this is a feedback video, and I just wanted to feedback some problems that are going on with the flight simulator. I have the Xbox controller unplugged. Let's see if I get it back now. I have no idea what that was. All I was doing before is I was trying to control the drone without the Xbox controller. I have no idea how to do that. I've always used the Xbox controller. So plug in the Xbox controller back in. Looking left, looking right, nothing. Control options. No Xbox controller. So still no Xbox controller, but wait a minute. Let that load completely. Yeah, no Xbox controller. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and fly this flight the rest of the way. I'm not going to try to use a drone. I can still go outside and look around. I can use, I'm using the CH products, you know, basically your joystick to pan around and look around. I can still do that. Dare I go back into drone mode again and see if I can use my joystick? I don't want to do that. It's not working. So the joystick works to look around in flight mode, but I have no drone at all anymore with this new update, with this patch. So they fixed apparently the problem was whenever you want to unplug it or plug it back in, it would freeze the title. It would freeze the program. So plugging it, unplugging it, plugging it back in, it doesn't freeze it anymore, but I have, it's not available anymore. Well, I really enjoy this program a lot. I really enjoy flying VR. I've flown quite a distance in VR in just a Cessna 172. That's what I enjoy it for the most. I like flying this too, the Cessna Caravan and the Cessna Citation Longitude. I find this, those three aircraft, to me, are most comprehensive. However, one thing that I really like about Microsoft Flight Simulators, they are constantly working on it. My theory behind the bugs was that the bugs would be worked out and they'd be gone. But it seems like the updates introduce new bugs and they're not thoroughly tested out before release. With this fix, or with this update, and I believe it was with the last update too, there's hot fixes that come out right after it. And it's to me, that's reactionary rather than, it's reactive rather than proactive. Maybe get a level of beta testers out there to test all facets of it before the big release. Maybe get a few more beta testers out there or something that can test the program, thoroughly test it before release, and get these bugs worked out. Use all kinds of different machines. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with the nav all the way. If you remember the last video, I went from time to S50. There's the airport right there. And I have it in nav mode. What happens in real life whenever any pilots out there, is time, is that a real thing? And when you have it in nav mode, does it turn automatically around toward the runway when you're going the opposite direction? Right now the wind is coming from the north. Okay, now we're just about ready to pass the runway. I have it in nav mode. Last time I flew this, I had it in nav mode, and it turned around automatically toward the airport. And now look at the time. It still says time. Have it in nav mode. Now, is this something in real life that would happen in nav mode? Would it automatically turn around? Right now I'm still going straight, and now it turned around. I brought the... I'm going to go ahead and it's 50, traffic, select runway for landing, 34, now it's full stop landing, position.
Sierra 50 traffic, Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie 4 miles south, 2,500
turning around, I still have the autopilot.
34.
As soon as I straighten out here, I'll go ahead and descend toward the runway. I got my flaps. Flaps 1. Nope, let me do flaps 1. There's the runway right there. Wow. I don't know if that's something that's in real life or not. I have quite a drop here. Flaps full. Final.
Sierra 50 traffic, Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie is on final runway tree.
In real life, I don't think this is what happens. I don't think that it would automatically turn around toward, and maybe it does. Maybe the pilot just needs to put it in the heading mode and continue flying straight. But this is too close. I'm dropping like a rock. My passengers in the back are in for a roller coaster ride. So anyway, I'm not sure that this would be the real deal here. I'm not a pilot. I've never actually even been in a Cessna 172. One of these days, maybe. I have been in a Piper Cherokee. A friend of mine took me up. I got flaps full. There we go. 70. 70. Flare. Flaps up. All right, that's it, guys. So I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments below if you have use for the Xbox controller. I recorded my last flight, but I didn't have the sound configured correctly. That was my fault. That was I had my sound configured to my headset, my Rep S, and didn't have it configured. So anyway, but I wish I could have shown you that flight. I had my Xbox controller, but it just went wonko on me. And then when I tried to unplug it and plug it back in, unplugging it solved the problem, but plugging it back in, now I don't have, it can't see it anymore. I rebooted my machine. I checked the configuration in Microsoft Windows. It's seeing the Xbox controller, but Microsoft Flight Simulator at this point is not seeing my Xbox controller. So that's the update. I hope everybody has a good day. Take care.